I was going to say, what you're seeing now with how you transform this practice court, are you sensing more when you start to look at training in more sequential form? Is that the solution to players checking out less and getting to the point where they don't check out at all?
Well, checking out's the response to anxiety, and that's one of the main problems you have with matches. So in this non-competitive sphere that we find ourselves in around the world with sport and kids sport, okay, they can't deal with the anxiety. They're not trained to do it.
They're not trained to do it in practice. So
Do
they're not rehearsing the idea of being let down in practice.
Response to anxiety is rehearsal, number one. Rehearsing the sequences, okay?
Rehearsing the sequences.
Planning.
And we're talking 2 shots. We're not talking planning 4 shots.
No. 2 shots. Because what that does is it stops the mind going, well, it stops the mind. It stops thought.
Sure.
You don't want thought in there. Thought is so powerful. And it's never a good thing. We don't want to think. We want to be programmed. The only time we want to think is which sequence is going to break this guy down. We want to think about the other person, not about ourselves, not about what our coach thinks, not about what our parents think, not about what our friends think. Okay, we want to think about them. That's where we should be thinking. Now, what is he least going to want to do, given the situation we are in the match? That starts to take the anxiety is going to be there, but we want to convert it. That's how you do it. So rehearsal, and then application with planning.
Because 1 shot is not enough, and 3 is just way too.
Well, 1 shot, you're out of sequence. You're going non-sequential just by definition, you know.
That's right. And then 3 shots. Why not 3 shots? I mean, I know why it's 2, but because I'm looking at the data. I'm looking at 4 shots or less is 6 out of 10 points, and then 9 out of 10 points is 8 shots or less. So that's 2 plus 2 shots on your side of the court. 0 to 4 is 2 shots on your side. So when I started to develop patterns based on 2-shot sequences, it was because of the data. The analytics were telling me the point's not going to last. It's going to last this long, this number of times on average, and this is straight up from 10-year-olds all the way up to the tour. And then the next 30% of the points, or 3 out of 10 points, last 2 more shots on your side of the net.
Well, this is where we develop the intelligence with the player. So the intelligence is founded on knowing what your strong sequences are, directly combined with looking at the effect of your strong sequences on the other player. In other words, what do they not want to do? Now, if your strengths hit their weaknesses, you're going to win. Okay, unless you come out of sequence and start. No, but you will. Often, that's the problem. You go, oh, that's an easy. Oh yeah, there's no easy match, guys.
No.
Okay, so if your strengths meet their weakness, okay, and I mean the strengths in terms of your strong sequences, right? Yeah. So your strong ones are, you're pretty good. If your strong sequences hit them on that neutral bit, so they're not maybe hitting their weaknesses, but they're containing the other player, then you've got a tough match on your hands. But if you stick with that, you'll probably win.
Right, because the other player may come out of sequence. They may panic, and if you don't panic and you stay with your sequential play, then you can overcome that, and it's winning. It's winning by a little.
If your strengths meet their strengths, then we've got a very interesting match on our hands. And be prepared. That's when you need the creative thinking, right? That's when we don't want to. That's when sequences you will come out of sequence if you're not careful. So you need your secondaries, right? So
Yeah,
your secondary
shots, your
secondary shot.
creative,
Yeah.
You know, and your
Which
ability to
sequence
think
can I
creatively.
run?
Yes.
Yeah, that is going to that not necessarily on my strength list, but is going I've got to find the one he doesn't like. Okay, we know which ones. Well, I know which ones mine are, and they're very sneaky. Which is on the return. So my R is juice run, zone of truth reverse with a slice.
With a slice.
Yeah, because
Yes.
people are very heavy on the coming back from the ad run. Sorry, from the juice run into the centre of the court. They're very heavy. Their feet are that way,
Yes.
and then that one.
Yes.
That's mine. That's what I call those the breakdowns. Okay, so when it's strength meets strength, yeah, or strength meets neutral, we need these secondary patterns. But this is developing their tennis intelligence. It's where spin and slice come involved. What if I slice this one
Yes.
into the ad cage instead of hitting the high spin?